the idea of Shatter Brain first started in like early to mid 2017.
Once we got some ideas going, we decided we wanted to get a band going that was pretty serious and do a bit of touring. And then from there, we just tried to find a lineup and members that were up for that, basically.
It's quite interesting that I didn't know it at the time. This is actually Ryan's old band Alkira were playing at the Brew Boys. They have these like craft beers. You have a few, get a little bit loosen up, and I was moving along. Anyway, I talked to Ryan. Ryan was telling me about doing this band, and I don't remember any of this.
He was right up in my ear with his pointy moustache, poking me in the eardrum and whatnot, and he was pretty pissed, rosy-faced and everything.
Anyway, he was telling me, apparently, I can't remember it, about would you be interested in doing a band? And then a month later or something, he's like, you still keen to do that band? I was like, what band? And he's like, you remember that thing I was talking to you about? I was like, nah.
I kind of took a little break from playing in bands for a little while and was concentrating on engineering and doing kind of other stuff, and I end up hearing through Pat that Ryan and Matt were looking to start a band, and thought, yeah, why not? And kind of joined in as it was all getting off the ground.
The boys had already been jamming for a bit before they obviously needed a vocalist. Me and Ryan used to play in bands together, and Matt as well. Probably back when I was in high school, and obviously a bit after that. Then I kind of dropped out of the scene for a bit. When they started Shatter Brain up, I guess they had something in mind of what they wanted, and Ryan ended up messaged me, because he remembered from all those years ago, to ask if I wanted to be the vocalist.
We've got the great fortune of Jack being an awesome audio engineer, so as soon as we got him on board, he was like, yeah, I'd love to be involved in whatever capacity you'll have me in terms of tracking this. And he ended up tracking and mixing the demo.
We jumped straight into recording a demo as soon as Tom joined the band, and we kind of self-produced it, and that was pretty enjoyable, that experience. I think the result was pretty good. We hired out a drum room and did the rest ourselves.
Then we ended up releasing the thing at the end of January 2018, and at that point we had a New Zealand and Australian tour all booked as well.
It was good. We kind of wanted to plan it a little bit that way, keep it all under wraps, and kind of hit the ground running, so to speak.
Well, our first show was Brisbane, so I think we'd played overseas before we played in Adelaide, so it was an interesting way to do stuff, but
we kind of decided to put our money where our mouths were, and kind of just hit the road pretty heavy.
We were able to plan a bunch of interstate shows, and then the New Zealand tour came up, and we sort of exhausted all our individual contacts, and were able to do an overseas tour. And we thought, let's just do all this first and then bring it home at the end, sort of thing.
Considering I'd been out of the music scene for about 5 years plus, it was definitely a bit of a... Definitely to say I wasn't ready for it, but I'm not complaining in the slightest. I've had a fucking awesome time doing it.
Yeah, our first show was in Brisbane, and then our second show was in Port Augusta, and then our third show was in Bendigo, and then Melbourne, and then I think we went from Melbourne to New Zealand, Alice Springs, back to Melbourne. I think it was our 7th or 8th show before we actually played in Adelaide. And it worked out nicely that our first Adelaide show was at the Heavy SA Festival that Northie from Truth Road puts on pretty much annually.
And it was a great crowd, and it was a really good feeling, actually, yeah. And it just felt like it wrapped up that tour really well.